Let's see. Are we live yet? Are we live? Are we live? Trying to see. If you guys are, if we're
Let's
live,
see,
put
are we
a
live yet?
Put a thumbs up in the chat. No, we're live. Hey guys, so I'm Rob with Spell It Out Gaming here with Ross.
Hello,
And
everybody.
as you guys know, things happen and games don't happen sometimes. So we decided we're going to talk about some movies. Some of our
I'm
favorite.
excited. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of our favorite sci-fi movies that have robots in them. And that was a very clear guideline. We were like, talking about sci-fi maybe a little too broad. Let's talk about sci-fi with robots in them. I got the whiskey ready. Are you ready, Ross?
I don't have whiskey, but I am ready.
So Ross compiled a list with me before the stream. So we'll go down the list and we'll talk about some of our favorite moments of that, about the robots. And we're going to give them a rating of Paragon or Renegade.
All right. So what made me laugh when we actually started coming up with this list was we both had the very, like, our first pick was like the same, which was iRobot,
Yeah.
which I've been told iRobot is like the best bad movie, but I think it's really just a decent movie all around, and I've always just liked it. And the robots in question are like service robots. And the main character of iRobot is Will Smith. He plays a detective who has a bit of a disdain towards robots. And the other main character is Sonny, who is played by none other than, do you know who it is, Rob? Alan Tudyk of Firefly and other delightful movies.
It has been a long time since I've seen that movie. I remember watching it though when I was younger, and the robots blew me away. I was like, "Oh man, the robots are so cool." However, I read the book.
I did not read the book.
Yeah, I read the book after I watched the movie, and the book is way better. The book is
that's
so
the case for
good.
a lot of good sci-fis.
Yeah. And I went and watched the movie again, and I'm like, there's literally nothing about the book in the movie except that it has robots in it.
Well, it kept the 3 laws of robotics,
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Which is the premise of this like entire genre of like robots in general, which like many movies like drew their inspiration because I'm not sure when this book came out, but I remember like back when I saw iRobot, like kind of reading up about it a little bit, and iRobot being the inspiration for like many robot themed like novels and other media like throughout the years. And like the three laws of robotics, do you remember what they are, Rob?
Yeah, a robot cannot harm a person. A robot cannot allow a person to get harmed
through inaction.
Yeah. And I don't remember the third one.
And the third one is a robot must obey a command by a human unless it conflicts with the first 2 laws.
Yeah, exactly. And it was published in 1950.
I would say I'm not sure what like inspirations probably came before that, but that seems pretty up there in the robotic sci-fi genre.
Yeah,
of, like,
Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov was one of the granddaddies of sci-fi.
So one of my favorite elements of iRobot, incidentally, is it was the first time I had heard of the concept Ghost in the Machine, which is like basically you build like the robot, and like in many robot sci-fi themes, it eventually evolves on its own and becomes something that you don't anticipate it being. Like other cases are, say, Mass Effect and like Geth, like iRobot with like the robot uprising,
or the machines in Dune that caused the Butlerian Jihad.
or Terminator, even Skynet, which is number 3 on. No, it is number 4 on our list.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Not unless you're ready to segue on.
Like, do you have any more cool things about like iRobot that you want to touch on? Like elements from the book that you think would have been better in the movie?
I would just suggest read the book, everyone who watches this, because the book does this really cool thing where it actually is like a couple separate short stories that all tie into the 3 laws of robotics, and it's a really fun read.
I might go pick up a copy of iRobot now.
Yeah.
All right. You want to move on to number 2 of our list?
Let's move on to number 2.
All right. Number 2 is Chappie.
Haven't seen it.
All right. It's basically like if you take iRobot, you take Sonny, and like basically make him like a newborn baby who gets thrown into the like dangerous atmosphere of like gangland South Africa, much like in District 9.
I have seen District 9.
Same like people who did that. I blanking on names right now.
Neil Blomkamp was the director of both. Yeah.
And like Chappie basically runs around learning as much as he can because he's an AI specifically designed to do that. But like his components are the leftovers of like a military robot that had been damaged in the line of duty because in Chappie they have like basically walking drones that police South Africa. And he gets kidnapped by none other than D. Antwoord. And he just learns how to be, Chappie, most dangerous gangster. Solid watch, in my opinion. Not everyone would agree with me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought District 9 looked pretty, but I wasn't a big fan of the story, so
I like District 9.
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was okay. It was meh. And then Chappie, when I saw the trailers for it, I was like, we'll see. And I didn't think the response was good enough to warrant me watching at the time. Now I'm pretty sure if I had the chance, I'd be like, why not?
Notable co-star mentions include, but are not limited to, Hugh Jackman. He plays the bad guy. He plays the bad guy.
The huge Jackman himself.
Yeah, and he's got a mullet. It's hilarious. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 3, Star Wars.
Right. I mean,
C-3PO. We're not even giving these robots their Paragon or Renegade review.
Well, I would say we can go back quick. The iRobot robots. Paragon? I think.
I would say Paragon because like he clicked Renegade a few times, but overall he was Paragon.
Chappie, I'll let you give this one.
Oh, Chappie is 100% like that sweet Renegade because he like it's so funny. And let's get on to Star Wars. We got quite a few robots to choose from. So
yeah, I think let's just talk about. I think the robots in Star Wars, the androids, they tend to vary like hugely on whether or not they are truly robots, where they don't have much emotion and thought, all the way to a clear like they're definitely androids.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because like I actually saw this in a Cracked After Hours like a few years ago where they were talking about like how like they were torturing droids in the original and like why would they design robots to feel pain if not to punish them for the events of the prequels? Like because they wouldn't like they flat out said like we don't serve robots in this bar for
we don't serve droids.
Like they're not buying anything, which was the point of that Cracked After Hours. So
yeah,
like you could argue that droids in the Star Wars universe are renegade because like they can only be like they can only act how they were designed to act.
Right.
Like not like in like iRobot or Chappie where they learn as they go, they collect data, but they still are programmed to act the way they're acting.
Yeah, but Star Wars being a sci fantasy, a lot of the androids tend to go beyond their programming. C-3PO, for example, he was meant just to be a service droid or a what? How did he put it?
A human. It was like a human relation cyborg.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Human cyborg relations. Yes.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. But he goes beyond that. Eventually, even getting to the point where he's like almost giving speeches to the rebel factions.
I mean, he did convince all those Ewoks that he was God, which means that he was capable of at least not telling the Ewoks the truth of the matter, which is he was just a robot and not a god. So that's a renegade move.
I see a lot of channels talk about R2D2, so I want to talk more about C-3PO. C-3PO is, in my opinion, a more interesting character than R2D2. R2D2 is, people like him because he's like the cute, like
he makes the funny noises.
Yeah, but C-3PO actually like develops as a character.
See, that's what I found really funny with the prequels is they included C-3PO and R2D2, but you can really see their backgrounds and how they play out throughout the rest of the series because R2D2 is a Skywalker / rebel droid. So that he's going to have rebels backs. Like he completely went into shutdown mode for nearly the entire like 3 movies of the sequels because snitches get stitches. But C-3PO is just walking around just like, oh, I don't know.
Yep.
Like, oh, I knew Luke Skywalker and Leia.
Yep. Well, so with that being said, I would have to say C-3PO starts Paragon and develops more Renegade as time goes.
Isn't that how we all end up? And I would probably say the R2D2 does the same thing but opposite because he started off as like a rebel alliance droid and then like he kind of develops into and he turns into a Paragon.
Maybe. Yeah. We're just kind of slapping things around, guys. Like, don't take this at face value. You can call us dumbasses and we're wrong all you want. We're okay with that. We'll argue with you in the comments.
All right. You want to move on to our next one?
Let's go on.
Terminator
Renegade. Let's go.
It's an easy Renegade because like they're bringing about a robotic apocalypse, which
even after the T-1000s like come with me if you want to live. Sort then.
Well, see, like that goes into like my point about like in Star Wars where like they're programmed to act a certain way. So Terminator is about humans making a program that makes robots, and then that program makes robots evil, and they want to kill humans. But the only time a Terminator actively like changes the way they act is through human intervention. Like a Terminator needs to get caught and reprogrammed for them to even do the thing in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's like Judgment Day and, Terminator 3, I think it was Rise of the Machines. I think that's it. Anyway, but yeah, Terminator 100% Renegade.
If you watch Terminator 1 and 2, must watch. If you have to have more, watch 3, but do not watch beyond that, please. I'm begging you.
Let people enjoy things, Rob. No. I mean, I haven't seen them and I haven't enjoyed them, so I can't say, but if you enjoy it, we're just busting your balls.
If you watch Genesis and enjoy it, I don't know what to tell you.
Is that the one with like Old Man Arnold and
it has Emilia Clarke?
Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I wouldn't mind like seeing it, but like I have no frame of reference, so
If you value your time, you will not watch it.
I don't. That's why we're here at 11:30 at night
But
talking about
there's
robots.
so many great movies you could watch with your time. That's the problem.
I will tell you a great movie to watch right now with your spare time, and that is number 5 on our list. One of my favorite movies, The World's End.
Haven't watched it.
I highly recommend it because any Edgar Wright fans out there, you would know that that is the third installment of the Cornetto trilogy. The reason it has made this list today is because it is about a robot apocalypse. Basically, a group of friends from old country town, probably England. Uh, they go to their old hometown to partake in the Golden Mile and realize that their old hometown is a little bit different. Everything's kind of off. And then they slowly start to realize that it's been taken over by robots. And so they keep drinking because they don't want them to suspect anything. And it's a good old fashioned romp with Edgar Wright with his amazing visual humor. And I'll go ahead and say that these robots are technically Paragon. I don't want to spoil it for Rob because I want him to actually watch it, but
I'm
the
about
robots
I'm about to blow your
definitely
mind.
have a reason.
I haven't seen Hot Fuzz either. No. I've seen Shaun of the Dead. It was pretty funny.
Shaun of the Dead is a pretty good one. I am going to ask you to do me a favor, and for everyone listening, you need to watch Hot Fuzz. And for everyone listening who hasn't seen World's End, because nobody likes that one out of the 3, go watch that one too, because you should celebrate your freedom, which you wouldn't get because you haven't seen it. Let's go ahead and move on to one that you have seen that I have not seen, which is AI.
Oh, okay. This is a rabbit hole. Excuse me, Ross. I'm probably going to go on a short rant here. My favorite director of all time is Stanley Kubrick. I am obsessed with Stanley Kubrick movies. The guy is just a genius at visual storytelling. Have you seen
I've seen
The Shining?
Seen The Shining, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the name of it now.
Full Metal
Full
Jacket.
Metal Jacket. Seen
Mm-hmm.
that one.
Amazing.
He also
Eyes Wide
did.
Shut.
I haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut.
That's his underrated movie. I love it. Fantastic movie.
Didn't he also do? Didn't he do Back to the Future as well?
No, he did not. But
like, where did I hear that from? I'm confusing Stanley Kubrick with someone else.
He also did a movie called Dr. Strangelove, or How I Came to Love the Bomb. Ross, you have to watch this movie.
Let's talk about the movie.
It's an old classic black and white movie, and it's hilarious. You need to watch it. Anyways,
right. So
AI was Stanley Kubrick's last film. He actually only got through making half of it, and he passed away. There is a clear distinction of where his directing ends and the second half director begins up till the end of the movie. Do you want to know who the other director was?
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Steven Spielberg.
Wow, you got it. First shot.
The reason I go with him is because he would be the go-to in that situation, because he's already got like E.T. and these other ones. Like,
so Stanley Kubrick is notorious for having this really dark, somber, like overbearing feel in his films. Like you could feel it in almost all his films, even in the funny moments.
You don't get a full-on stare named after you unless you know what you're doing.
Right. And so the first half of the film is about a robotic boy that is purchased by a family to be a companion to their child. The robot makes the family eventually feel uncomfortable because he starts asking like really deep philosophical questions that they feel robots shouldn't be asking them.
That is considered the ghost in the machine.
Do you want to know
aspect.
Do you want to know what take a guess how the end of the Kubrick part ends?
I would say that like because it's a robotic kid, the kid probably gets all terrifying and like kind of haunting, and then it ends with a Kubrick stare.
Not necessarily. The family dumps him off the side of the road like an animal. And so the second half of the movie that Steven Spielberg takes over is kind of like this, like almost like D&D-esque adventure where he's going through the countryside, meeting other like individuals and robots and stuff, trying to find his family. And
okay. Yeah,
I'm not going to end the
very Spielberg.
I'm not going to ruin the ending of it, but it's a fantastic movie. Just for the fact that there's such a huge
I'm probably going to check that out now.
It's very good. But the robot in this movie gets a paragon from me. He's childlike through the entire film. I'm trying to remember his name. He was a very famous child actor at the time. Here, AI. Holly Joel Osment.
Oh, Holly Joel Osment, yeah. Sixth Sense kid.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He played the robot.
Like his most recent role that I've seen him in is The Boys.
Yep. And it had Jude Law, Francis O'Connor, Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, I remember when that came out now. Like I was having trouble like connecting some dots, but yeah, I remember that one now. All right, so you give that one a Paragon?
Paragon, easy.
All right, here's another one on the list that you've seen that I haven't is Deus Machina.
This robot gets a Renegade. Now, I mean, there's a whole lot of philosophical and metaphysical conversation I could go into with Deus Ex. It's a rabbit hole of a movie, and
it's Deus Machina. If it's named Deus Machina.
Yeah, if you enjoy really thinking about a film, then you need to watch this movie.
I've been meaning to watch this one.
It's very good. As Oscar Isaac, and he's great in the movie. I don't
Oscar remember. Isaac, shout out.
I don't remember the other two actors, the actor and the actress. I don't remember their names, but
yeah.
And honestly, I'm doing them a disservice by not naming them off. But there's literally only those three in the movie. And
I used to work at a movie theater, and that movie had come out while I was working there. But I think it's probably just one of those movies that like there's just a bunch of movies out at the same time that are all really good. And like I remember it doing pretty well, like, but it was also one of those things where it can get overlooked just because something that's like a bigger movie happens to be out at the same time.
Sure. I don't think it breaks my top 10, but it's a very, very good film.
And did you give it a Paragon or a Renegade?
Renegade.
All right. You want to move on to our next one? All right. Here's another good one. The Matrix.
The Sentinels.
Absolutely. Like, and basically like almost every character in it except for like I guess you would say the Zionists.
Yeah,
because all of them were
humanity in itself is merely a battery for the machines.
Yeah, which in all honesty, like when I first saw The Matrix as a kid, like it was so freaky to me to like that idea that humans would just be that and they'd be plugged into some program.
Yeah.
But like it still holds up as one of like my favorite like sci-fi movies. If nothing more than Keanu Reeves.
Right.
But yeah, those Sentinels definitely Renegade.
Yeah, and they freaked
definitely
me out when I
terrifying.
was younger. I remember
Oh my
that.
god, yeah,
Little,
like just drilling through with those
yeah,
like just boom, and then like oh, and those mech suits too,
yeah.
and like the bazookiers,
The first Matrix movie is a
grenadiers.
freaking classic.
Oh yeah, like I'm also excited for what's the new one called? Resurrections. Like
Mm.
I'm very interested to see like which direction they're like going
I'll,
in.
I'll probably wait until I hear like what people are saying about it before I go and watch. I'm very skeptical usually about films.
See, like I'm skeptical too, but I always try to make a point to watch it before I give an opinion or like really get opinions on it because I don't like hearing something about it and it like affecting the way I'll go into it.
I will say there is a critic on YouTube that I really enjoy, and I tend to agree a lot with his opinions on films, and that's the Critical Drinker. Shout out. You guys should check him out.
All right. So, I think we're both agreed that that would be a Renegade.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
like I have not seen the Critical Drinkers, so
you
I
should watch
believe
him. He's funny.
that was probably like a call to one of his
Yeah,
things.
he's a drunk movie reviewer who's a Scotsman.
Cool. All right, so Renegade for the Sentinels of the Matrix. Next one on the list, the Iron Giant.
Classic. One,
Classic
yeah, one of my favorite
Paragon.
animated American films. Very, very good.
It's art. Yeah, I remember watching it as a kid and really enjoying it, but like it also became one of those movies that like I say I like, but like I have a DVD copy of it that I haven't actually watched in far too long, and it's much too good of a movie to have that kind of treatment from all of us who collect movies that gather dust.
Yeah, I
Definitely
mean,
worth a watch.
I have a lot of movies that are the same thing. I haven't watched them in a long time, but then I have
That's
those
what we're
few
here
movies that I
for.
watch like a million times in a row.
Yeah, those comfort ones.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're getting there though. Just wait.
We're getting there.
I'll go on like an hour long rant on that one alone.
So I would say Iron Giant is definitely Renegade, not Renegade. Well, he's Renegade turned Paragon, then turned Renegade, then back to Paragon.
Yeah.
But like that goes to show, like little tweaks, like a little bump on a head can make someone completely different thing altogether. All right, so let's get on to the next one, which
Superman.
like I surprised you when I brought it up when we were writing the list. Shout out to Robin Williams for the Bicentennial Man,
Yeah.
which if you know that one, then you know a part of my childhood, which is the Bicentennial Man, which is a very interesting movie about like a family buying a robot and then over the course of like 80 years or so like becomes a human.
Yeah.
Like very interesting movie and very overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember much about it, Rob?
I not entirely about the plot. However, I can say it was the first movie I watched as a young child. I was probably about like 10 at the time.
Yeah,
Somewhere
like we're
around
about
there,
the
yeah.
same age, so
Mm-hmm.
like that sounds about right.
And it was one of the first movies with Robin Williams that I watched, and I was like, he's a great actor. Like he's
Yes.
more than
Mm-hmm.
just a funny man. Like
Oh
this
yeah.
guy's a fantastic actor. And I didn't watch Good Will Hunting until I was already like 25. And
Same.
I thought Good Will Hunting was overrated.
I I like I came into it thinking it was gonna be overrated, but still being pleasantly surprised by the performances. But like it's one of those things where you like it, you don't, you don't. I'm like like I watch a lot of movies, and that one gets like kind of like middle of the pack review, like
Disclaimer:
rating.
I have to mention this. I do not like Ben Affleck. Sorry.
Like he's hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
But someone who's not hit or miss for me is Robin Williams, and his performance in Bicentennial Man is really good. And like, I do hope that like anyone watching this, they're like Bicentennial Man, holy shit!
Yeah.
Because like the performance he gives, like it's very well thought out because it's essentially watching like AI, like it being basically a kid robot. Like he's a brand new robot, like fresh out of the factory, and then he spends the entirety of his existence with this family until he starts asking the questions of like, am I only a robot? Can I be more than a robot? Like what makes a soul, essentially, which is the whole point of robot movies, is where does the robot end and where does humanity's intervention begin? Very well done. Like, great movie.
Fantastic movie.
Paragon.
Yeah.
Like,
Robin Williams, rest in peace, you beautiful bastard.
rest in peace. All right, let's go on and let's move on to our next one on the list, which is Lost in Space.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger. Now, this does have robots in it, but I'm not that big of a Lost in Space fan. Like I know that there was like an old series, if I'm not mistaken, and then there was the movie reboot with Matt LeBlanc, and then there's the new Netflix one that is available now. Shout out Netflix, yeah. But why don't you give us a rundown of Lost in Space, because I'm only going off of Matt LeBlanc knowledge.
Have you seen any of them?
I've seen the Matt LeBlanc Lost in Space with, oh yeah, isn't Liam Neeson in it? No, it's not Liam Neeson.
You're gonna make me look this up now.
I think it's Craig T. Nelson. He plays the dad.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Craig T. Nelson. Craig T. Nelson.
Let's see. So yeah, there was the 67 version of it. That was a TV show.
Yes. Like that's where like, yeah, and the robot was like imagine like Daleks, like seeing Daleks in like the 1960s.
I have not seen that one.
Neither have I, but I've seen pictures from it.
Yeah, I have seen the 98 film.
98 film. Who is the dad? I want to know if I'm right.
Gary Oldman was
Gary
in the film.
Oldman.
He wasn't the dad.
Oh, he wasn't that. He was the
villain.
Villain. Yes.
Yeah, he was here. He was Dr. Zachary Smith, or Spider Smith.
Yep.
Professor John Robinson was William Hurt.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hurt.
Mimi Rogers was the mom, Maureen Robinson, and this is great. Heather Graham was Dr. Judy Robinson.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wasn't she also
the older sister? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah. Jack Johnson was William Robinson. Jared Harris was the older version of him. Matt LeBlanc was Major Don West, which he romances Heather Graham in the movie.
Super hot.
Yeah. which we're gonna get to something that has her in it later on. But anyways, let's talk about the 98 film. That's the one you and me are both familiar with. I have seen a couple episodes of the Netflix version, and the ones I saw weren't bad. I liked them. They weren't bad.
But yeah, the robot though, and the one that we both have seen, like I assume that it's going to be along the lines of the original series and this new Netflix series, where it's a programmed robot.
There's not much to them.
Yeah, they're a little bit lighter on the side of robotics, but very cool that like that's like one of the most famous lines in sci-fi history is "Danger, Will Robinson."
Yeah.
Like literally Will Robinson is programming this Sentinel essentially,
Yeah.
which is how it starts.
You should watch the 98 movie if you guys haven't. The CGI is definitely outdated. It's pretty bad. But
Think The Rock and The Mummy Returns.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, but I mean, it's worth watching it just to see Joey from Friends in space going, "Ay."
Yeah, he very much plays a Fonzie character.
Always, everything he's ever in.
Accurate. All right, so like I'm not quite sure how to give this robot a rating on the Paragon Renegade because he's very
Paragon.
50-50. Paragon in the he follow like is just programmed to be Paragon.
Yeah, because I feel like he follows mostly the development of Will Robinson. So wherever Will Robinson goes in development, he does too. He's used as a tool to defeat the villain at the end. You know.
Oh yeah, kind of like a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
All right, so Paragon. I'm gonna move down the list. We got this one. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I know I haven't seen it. Short Circuit. You told me to put in parentheses Johnny Five.
Yeah, so Johnny Five Short Circuit. It's a awesome, hilarious, old like 80s, 90s movie. One of the first movies I saw as a kid that had a robot in it. It's so good. And I remember this is gonna sound I'll keep that to myself. I have to remember
any YouTube.
Yeah, I have to remember there's sometimes I have to like filter myself. It's a great movie. Like you should watch it. It's so good. I definitely recommend it. Now that may be nostalgia talking. I haven't seen it in a while. So
yeah.
Maybe someone in the comments can say how it's aged.
And that the funnest part of, dissecting your favorite media is how well has it aged?
Yeah. For example, I played I tried to play an old video game I used to play. I'm trying to remember what it was. No. I tried watching Thundercats and it was awful. It was so bad. I can't believe I loved Thundercats.
Thundercats was cool because like it was.
Have you watched it again recently?
Well, I have kids, so yeah.
Oh.
It's definitely good from the perspective of a kid seeing like space travel and like alien species, like that whole thing. But yeah, it's got that cheese to it. It's some 80s cheese. Like not much else to do about it.
I heard something about the writer like having his leg chopped off and his dead body found in a van.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm just talking about Thundercats.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the writer of Thundercats.
But back on topic, how would you rate the robot from Short Circuit?
Renegade.
I believe Johnny Renegade.
I think he was kind of like a shyster, like a trickster.
All right.
I may be remembering this wrong.
All right, let's go ahead and move down this list one more time, and we have the fembots of Austin Powers. Renegade through and through.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Austin Powers is what happens when you max out your charisma and dump stat everything else. You get the job done, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Breaking a bunch of robots.
This designed smells like shit.
Produce.
Austin, it is shit.
It is shit.
Oh, good. Then it's not just me. me and my girlfriend watched all 3 movies again, and she'd never seen Austin Powers. And the first half of the movie, the first one, she was kind of like, that's kind of dumb. And then she was laughing so hard from the second half of that movie all the way through the third movie.
That's how it gets you. Like, I believe someone we mentioned earlier in the list is in The Spy Who Shagged Me, which was
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham.
Yeah.
But can you tell me the other?
She plays Felicity Shagwell.
Co-stars? Felicity Shagwell.
Yeah.
But who were the other two actresses in International Man of Mystery and Goldman?
I don't remember the actress's name for Vanessa in International Man of Mystery.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Okay, yeah. I'm not
she
too
was
familiar
also
with her.
a fembot.
Yeah, she was a fembot. The other was Beyonce Knowles. She played Foxy Cleopatra. Yeah.
Oh man, that was like the first time I really like saw who Beyonce was like in media, like outside of like her music career. And I thought she was just hilarious in Golden.
There's been only one other actor to play Austin Powers. Who is it?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. He was. I said one other actor.
Technically, Vern Troyer. Like he played Little Mini Austin Powers.
I'm looking for something more specific. Tom Cruise. At the beginning of Goldmember,
they had the fake Austin Powers and the fake Austin Powers movie. See,
and
the biggest Tom Cruise fan, but whenever he does comedy, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Shout out Tropic Thunder.
and Gwyneth Paltrow, her character. I'm trying to remember her name. Hold on, I'm looking it up real quick. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I don't mean to hold up the stream, but this literally killed me when we were watching this. She played Dixie Normus. Dude.
The classic.
You guys, okay, if y'all haven't seen Austin Powers, what are you doing with your life? Like, you need to watch all three of them. You need to watch all three of them. It'll change your life.
It's one of those things, like, you're going to absolutely get us older millennials humor just watching Austin Powers.
Some would say he lost his head.
All right, let's get going.
Yeah. I can go on with Austin Powers all day.
So Fembot's definitely in the Renegade, and here is another movie that you've seen that I have not.
Britney Spears was a Fembot.
Boy. That's true, she was.
Yeah, Astro Boy actually was an anime. They did do
also shout out Britney Spears.
Yeah, they did do a crappy like CGI film of it later on.
Okay, I thought that's the one that came to mind when you mentioned it, but I wasn't absolutely sure.
So, Astro Boy is considered one of the like early animes that came to the West, alongside like Speed Racer, Ultraman, stuff like that. And it's pretty much like robot with a big heart, you know. So easy, slap a paragon on it, ship it.
All right. I won't argue with you. So, Astro Boy gets the paragon. Moving down, RoboCop. That's a tough one in my opinion, because he is a man seeking justice. If you're following the original RoboCop like movies, that punishment is definitely gratuitous.
Yeah.
And the remake that I think came out, give or take, like 2012, I think it had I can't remember the guy's name, but
I thought it was more recent than that.
It was back when I was definitely working in the movie theater, so could have been 2014. Regardless, they downgraded it from an R rating to a PG-13, which didn't really change the tone of the movie, I felt. Definitely made it more palatable for more viewers, but essentially comes down to what we've been talking about like this whole time, where like robots taking over certain like entities, organizations, and essentially thinking they can run it better than the humans, and like the main character has to stop them somehow. It's essentially iRobot, but cyborg.
Yeah.
Which still interesting, still solid series in my opinion.
I've
So
seen iRobot, not I. I'm sorry, RoboCop, but it was so long ago. I was a child. My dad was one of those dads that was like, "All right, boy, come watch this movie. It's gonna make you a man." And a man, it made me.
I would say RoboCop himself, like he's got robotics, like he's a cyborg, like I would say he counts in the robot category. So I would give him the Paragon rating. And in the more recent movie, his enemy becomes more conceptual, and he fights like robots, much like the robotic police force in like Chappie, where he has to go up against programmed renegade bots.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give RoboCop himself the Paragon and his robotic enemies Renegade.
I'd agree.
Right on. So let's go ahead and go down. We have a few more on here. This is one more that you've seen that I haven't. THX 1138.
You know who
Give me the
directed
rundown.
this?
I have no frame of reference for this at all.
You want to take a guess?
I mean, I've been right before, so I'll go ahead and say Spielberg again.
No. George Lucas.
George Lucas. Interesting.
Actually, THX 1138 was one of his original film concepts before Star Wars. It was something that he was working on in film school. And whenever they were developing THX sound, the name THX is referenced from this film.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's a commentary on individual freedom and essentially it's kind of like a 1984-esque sci-fi film.
I could dig that.
Yeah, it's really good film. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and the twist at the end is pretty awesome. The reason it's in this movie, in this list, is the police are robots. And they are a bunch of bastards. They're renegades, easily.
Well, you definitely piqued my interest. I want to check that out now. Moving down the list once more, one more that you've seen that I haven't, but I have a bit of a frame of reference for this one. Interstellar. Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
It is.
Okay, so I know which one we're talking about, but I haven't seen the film yet.
So one of Matthew McConaughey's companions that go into space with him is a robot. The reason I really like this robot is because it's not like the other robots in the list where it's built to be semi-humanoid. Instead, it's very geometric. Very geometric. Like in fact, it's mostly built of rectangles. And it has some like interesting banter between the rest of the cast in the film. Some ways adding like a very subtle comic relief without being like over the top. It's I want to be careful how I say this. The director, Christopher Nolan, it's probably one of the only movies of his that I watch and I'm not bored throughout. I don't really get into his Dark Knight series that much. I mean, they're good movies. They're very solid, very well structured. And then I know what is it? Inception,
yeah.
It's a fun movie, but it's not. I think it's overhyped. Interstellar is a great movie. I've seen it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen Interstellar, but I have seen Inception, so I do know what you're talking about. Like, he's very good at making his movies have like layers about them. Like,
yeah.
Like even literally in them into his movies. But it's like one of those like cool like writers like tools to like really get someone to like think conceptually, which is always an interesting thing if you can pull it off. And
Yeah.
the
Interstellar's my
business
favorite
of
film by him,
making
easily.
movies. And what is your rating for his robot companion?
Paragon.
Paragon.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. All right, so moving on down the list, we have Alien.
Bishop.
Ash.
Ash.
Sir Ian Holm. Shout
Right,
out.
right. Ash. No, yeah, I'm thinking Aliens. You're
Yeah,
right.
we have some to choose from.
Right.
The thing that I find interesting about the robots in Alien is the same thing I find interesting about iRobot, where these robots are programmed to do something very specific, which is to keep the humans on their ship safe. It's one of those things where, like, if you're not very clear with your robotic companions, they may take liberties with how they approach doing it.
Yeah.
And I think Bishop and Ash are both excellent examples of like robots that have to follow a certain sort of robotic laws, but
Yeah.
in the field of gray areas, which I know you're a big fan of in storytelling, Rob,
Uh-huh.
like it makes you think like were they doing something that could be considered like Ghost in the Machine in terms of conceptual thinking.
Yeah, I feel like Ash the doesn't have like, yeah, I mean, of course his role's huge because a lot of that stuff that happened in that film, you didn't see a lot of that. And that the first Alien movie for me just really set a tone for like horror.
Yeah, it's among the like first like sci-fi horror films within the genre, which is
Right.
cool because you see how like sci-fi evolves through like certain trends and whatnot. Like you have robots, and then you have like sci-fi horror, and you have like aliens. And you just really see how like an art form like gets inspired by its predecessors, and then takes like goes on to the other like genres of storytelling, like horror.
Right. Ash, I'd give a Renegade. Bishop, I'd give a Paragon.
Yeah, like another, I would agree with your rating. The reason I think that Ash was Renegade was because, if I'm not mistaken, the first Alien, that's their first contact with the xenomorph, like humanity's first contact with xenomorphs.
Yeah, unless you buy into Prometheus, which I like to pretend Prometheus never happened.
Well, technically it's canon, so we have to respect it as such in
Do
terms
we?
of how we approach it. I haven't seen Prometheus myself, and like I've seen the Alien series, but I don't remember a whole lot about them. I know that Brad Dourif's in one of them. And anywho, the reason I brought it up in the first place is, if you take into account that in the first Alien, Ash was operating under under the programming of humanity pre-xenomorph knowledge. Like, you could argue that humanity's come in contact with xenomorphs before with Prometheus. Otherwise, like Ash's like programming like basically predates humans' understandings of xenomorphs. As you progress through the series, though, Bishop is obviously programmed with like protocols to deal with like xenomorphs and like breaches such as what happens on every alien ship, which is a breakout.
Right.
Which I find is cool, because like it's just another like thing to show you that AI evolves with how humans interact with their surroundings.
Well, and Ridley Scott directed the first film, and it's fantastic. It's so good. And he also directed one of my other favorite films that is on this list, and we're getting to that, I hope.
We're almost there. So next one on the list is Star Trek. You know a lot more about Star Trek than me, but so I'll let you give some ratings through like some of the
Oh.
Star Trek, you know.
I'm not going to dive into the bastardization that J.J. Abrams did to the Star Trek franchise. So if we look at classic Trek, I mean, Data is clearly a paragon. His brother Lore
Very
is
much so.
clearly a renegade. So, but there's other artificial intelligences all throughout Star Trek.
Yeah, what's the one with Captain Janeway? That's Voyager?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Doctor was an AI medical professional, which like I very much enjoyed his performance. Like I thought he was very funny.
Yeah, he's played by Robert Picardo. Fantastic actor. Yeah.
And also like what I find like
he also appeared in one of the Generation movies. I think it was Nemesis. I don't remember. I feel like all the Trekkies are going to come and attack me with
just remember, every time you comment on our stuff, it's just gonna bump us up on top of the algorithm. So because I too am a robot. Dun dun dun. Anyway, I would say most of the robots like in Star Trek fall under the Paragon, because like for the most part robots get designed to help organics, which is an element to them. Like
and some of the artificial intelligences that like the Next Generation cast encounters, a lot of the times it's because there's something misunderstood and they have to figure out like, why is this happening, and they kind of come to terms with things and make it right, and then
and I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and give
except
that
the
one
Borg.
Kind of like
the Borg's clearly antagonists. They're renegade as hell.
All right, I'm gonna throw you a bone now and move us one more down the list to Blade Runner.
All right, guys. Seeing how we've already been streaming for 57 minutes, I think Ross intentionally put this at the end so I didn't go on a huge rant.
we have two more on the list that I would like to get to, but go ahead. Go ahead and give me the rundown, because
it's okay.
I don't know much about Blade Runner.
Man, yet again, both of the movies are classics. Denis Villeneuve did Blade Runner 2049, which is the newer one, and he also did Dune recently. Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, yeah. I've been really impressed with a lot of the stuff he's been doing recently.
He's a fantastic director.
After watching Dune, like that movie has been coming up a lot, and like people suggesting that I watch it.
So good. Anyways,
give me a rundown of the robots in Blade Runner.
Well, so they're referred to as replicants, not necessarily robots. They're more like biological machines.
Okay, somewhat like Terminator.
Yes.
Like they have biological components, or they have
biological
actual
components too.
Okay, so yeah, I would say like Terminator.
Yeah, but so the function of a Blade Runner is to hunt down illegal replicants that have either escaped and come to Earth, because on Earth it's illegal for the Nexus 7 or the Nexus 6 replicant line to be there. So Blade Runners hunt them down basically as bounty hunters. And it becomes apparent to the main character, who's played by Harrison Ford in the first Blade Runner movie, that these replicants have developed more, and it's all because their creator Tyrell implanted memories in them.
An element of iRobot.
It becomes much more than that too, though. And
does.
So Roy Beatty, the main antagonist, is trying to find a way to, like, Tyrell programmed them to only live for a certain amount of years, and that's kind of like the way he made up for how great they are. And there's a particular quote that sticks with me. Tyrell says to Roy, that says, "The star that burns twice as bright burns out twice as fast." So yeah,
that is solid advice. That's a
yeah,
solid.
yeah. And Roy kills him, and it's effectively killing his creator, killing God. There's a lot of symbolism in it. It's directed by Ridley Scott. Very, very well thought out movie. Very artistic film. 80s as hell, but still very good.
80s has some good, like, it has some good stuff in it.
It's my favorite film of all time.
Well, you've given me another one to watch. And what would you say on the Renegade Paragon scale of these robots in it?
It depends, because there's a lot of different robotic characters. Roy Beatty is Renegade, but he's a very gray character.
Okay.
You can kind of understand why he does the things he does. Priss, Renegade. All the replicants that are escaping are renegades, but there's some other ones that, and honestly, it's never really like known, but there's hints that Harrison Ford's character, the Blade Runner himself, may be a replicant.
Well, all right. Definitely want to check out some Blade Runner now. Let's move on. We have second to the last one. We have Doctor Who with the Cybermen. Honestly, like, you can't have sci-fi without a little Doctor Who in it. I know Tyler would probably be kicking both of us if we didn't mention it in this list. Big Whovian fan. Cybermen, definitely Renegade, because their whole point is to search and assimilate. Like, they want everyone to be a Cyberman, which is essentially like the comparison that is drawn between like robots and zombies.
Yeah.
Which is essentially just spreading, like, without really much of a purpose, the growth for the sake of growth, like the virus that is humanity. Like, you see it like all the time in different forms of sci-fi, but that is the absolute vibe I've always gotten from the Cybermen.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. So I compare the Cybermen to the Borg Collective from Star Trek. It's almost identical to me. What I wonder is who copied who.
That's for the scholars to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could find it on Google, but I don't want to waste my time.
Chances are it was probably Doctor Who that had like the idea first, but it's also one of those things where, like, that's the whole point of robots in general. Like what we were talking about before we started filming, like one of the reasons The World's End is one of my favorite robot movies is because they break down like the terminology of the word robot, which is robotnik, which is translated to the word slave, which is what all robots essentially are. And like all of these movies, they're programmed to be something. Right. And in most of these films, like these robots, like either evolve on their own or get reprogrammed. Either way, they start to question the limits of their own existence, which is like basically what we as humans do as well. And like it's interesting to see how many elements you see pop up over the course of like so many decades of like TV and film, because that's what robots are. Like anytime you see it in media, you're going to be seeing the elements of like robotnik slave, because like that's essentially what like the inspiration comes from. And I'm going to go ahead and surprise you with one more movie. This is the last one on the list. I added it halfway through because honestly, it's one of my favorite robot movies as well. It's Big Hero 6. Baymax. You love Baymax. The paragon of all robots. Like your friendly, cuddly healthcare companion, and he actually brings my whole point of this robot argument to a nice little close, because for those of you who have not seen Big Hero 6, it's a Disney movie where young hero goes to college, and his brother has developed this healthcare companion robot named Baymax, and he's programmed with all these medical procedures because Tadashi, his older brother, very much wants his like creation to do as much good in the world as like a robot can do. And so he's programmed with all these medical procedures. And over the course of the movie, Hero uh helps him and himself become superheroes along with Baymax. And so he has to program them with like martial arts and like self-defense programs. And then there's a point in the movie where Hero has to make a decision on whether or not to like subdue the big bad evil guy or kill him. And Hero, and like his like rage, because for those of you, I won't spoil it, but there's a reason he's really upset with this bad guy, and he decides to remove this healthcare companion chip and only use his dangerous one, his martial arts ones. Which, what is Baymax essentially? Is he this healthcare companion? Is he what his older brother Tadashi created him to be, or is he now what only Hero wants him to be? The point of it all is like his friends like replace the healthcare companionship, and he becomes Baymax again. And then Baymax later on chooses not to let Hero access his data port, which has these chips in it, because he doesn't want to be used to kill people, which is another element of like programming evolving to circumvent human intervention, which is always an element you're going to see in these robot movies. Is machines are going to rise up against humans whether we want them to or not. As you watch this on your cell phones and your laptops. But anywho, Baymax,
Deep Blue's already plotting our deaths.
I mean, come at me, bro. I'm going to go ahead and give Baymax a big old Paragon because he's the cuddliest of all robot bugs. And that is the end of our robot breakdown list and the first episode of our Paragon Renegade review system, which I had a lot of fun. I don't know about you, Rob.
Yeah, I did. I like the concept more, breaking down the characters.
Yeah, like that was a good twist. Yeah. So everybody go ahead and like our channel, subscribe, check out some of our other projects. Usually we do our pirate stream, but as you know, games don't always happen. We have players that are unable to join us. Rob, do we have any other projects in the works that people should keep an ear out for?
I mean, we're always releasing more episodes of High School D&D. It comes out every other week on Thursdays.
Hashtag save Dino.
You guys have to go check out the last episode at least, because that's one of my favorite moments where
I actually do a Stanley Kubrick stare.
Yeah. My favorite villain in the entire campaign makes an appearance.
Oh yeah.
I remember him. I love Nobunasu so much.
I don't. But go ahead and check out High School D&D set where you can see why Dino Higashi has such a disdain for Nobunasu.
And hopefully we'll be back on next Monday with Pirates of the Coast. If not, me and Ross will probably be doing some other series of movie genres, going over again and again. How about Eldritch Horror?
Eldritch Horror. I'll probably I'll tell you right now that my horror game is not as strong as it should be, because I'm a big old.
I guess more specifically, cosmic horror, like The Thing. Yeah.
Oh, you can also give us some comments if you like this content. Feel free to suggest other things that you want us to break down, other genres, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
We do it for you.
Or come in here and trash our opinions. That's okay too.
I mean, we trash each other's opinions, so it's
all the
okay.
time.
Nothing makes a fandom better than arguing about what makes a fandom awful.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.
Yeah.